Hey, what's up, everybody? I just wanted to kind of tie in all of these videos, my newer ones, and give you an overview of all of these tied together to a couple key ideas about the sun and the moon. And I made a few of these videos specifically for the moon, and it's actually, what is it named here? It's on the red moon. Somebody had asked me to do something about that. Oh, the holographic mental iron blood projection of the red moon. And what this has to do with your blood and the iron in your blood. And then this ties into the one I just did on blood types, time travel, gravity, the Philadelphia experiment, and what your blood is. It also ties into, interestingly enough, somebody asked me to do them a video on spherocytosis. And while I had a bunch of information I was going to put out on blood types anyways, and time travel and things like that, this was a really a key mechanism for understanding something. So I think we'll call this the Iron Age, or what, this has to do with what your blood is and what the moon is, and this dilemma that we have with magnetics, and what happens to what rusts? Iron rust, right? Why was the moon red? What is rusting? Now, if we follow my work and we think of the everything as a holographic projection, or maybe a mental imaging of a grand population, of the entire population, and I even got into like thinking of it as an auric field for the planet. I got into that idea. So why would the moon, and why would the moon be red at certain times? What is this connection to the blood of women having periods? And should women be having periods? This goes into, like I said, I had about 500 videos on here that I took down because I just thought there was too much information for people, and I wanted to really kind of condense it. And so here's another condensing of even the last whatever, how many, 15, 16 videos here, to give you just another little piece and make it a little more clear. Women have periods, and I got into the salt because we're overdoing the amount of salt in our diet. We've been cooking with pans that are made of iron. Iron rusts. Rusting and iron, it shouldn't be in our body. I'm not going to get back into the inorganic versus organic if people aren't clued into that yet. I'll redo a video on that maybe soon, but I think everybody that's followed my work understands how that works. But this moon, and when we think of this, we're spitting out biophotons and we're collecting biophotons through our eyeballs. So if we look at our internal environment as a holographic surface, and certain times of the month women are having a period, bleeding, literally letting go of what is toxic blood and heavy metals, and we think of this internally for men and women around certain times of the month, and if we're projecting that image out of our eyes biophotonically as a collective, we'll see the moon differently. Women are having their period. There's more energy. There's more psychic and energy. Women should be magnetic. Women are magnetic, but women keep putting salts and heavy metals in their body, which is destroying their magnetic flux. This is why we're living in a culture where women have become less organically magnetic to the man, that they've plasticized themselves, and they've put so much makeup on. Makeup has a lot of different chemicals in it, a lot of different metals in it. We're putting a lot of salt and metals in our bodies, both male and female, but more correctly here when we connect the idea of what the feminine is with the moon, and how it might be a projection, and we can get into like people's theories of like, when did the moon really show up? Was the planet really just the sun planet, and everything was growing and everything was going well until something was introduced here and into our bodies even? as something that rusts, that turns into red, that turns the blue blood red. So we're oxidizing the blood, and the blood, what would be turning red? It'd be the iron. And so we look at the Iron Age, and we look at the frying pans, and what are they made out of? They're made of iron. And those iron pans we started ingesting. I mean, let's look at the dates. Let's look at the ideas here that we started consuming off of heavy iron objects, cooking things, and they were consuming that, and then all of a sudden we became denser, and all of a sudden it's in the blood of the female, and instead of being just organically like raw nature, there's an obvious, I'm attracted to that due to the aroma, the smell, because the smell is the highest form of understanding. Because I mean, when we really get into the smell of each other, like let's go back that far, and all of a sudden a woman starts to ingest heavy metals, and so does a man wearing heavy metals, and all of that gets into the skin, and well, we forgot the smell. Because now all of a sudden we don't like the smell of each other, so we start putting even more things to cloak and cover ourselves up with a different smell, which is actually more chemicals. So what are we looking at here? What am I saying? I'm saying that heavy metals were introduced at a certain time, maybe by accident, maybe on purpose. I'm not getting into alien agendas in this video. I'm not getting into governmental agendas. I'm saying just maybe somehow what really happened here is like we didn't know any better, or maybe some people just started saying, hey, let's cook with these frying pans. Let's use iron. I mean, who cares what age it was? I mean, when it was. I mean, you can go through the history books and try to figure that out for yourself, but we can certainly see that the reflection of the moon and what the moon might be, because we can see the moon, like we can see the moon during the daytime. I'll repeat this 1,000 times. You can go out and see the moon next to the sun, so we know that the sun is not illuminating the moon. So we have to kind of guess again, what is the moon? And then we can see through the moon. We can certainly see through whatever, if we see half a moon during the daytime or even the nighttime, we can see stars behind it. We can see the blue sky behind it. So what is the moon? Is it just a mental holographic imaging projection of the entire planet, or possibly coming from, if we say we're inside of some sort of dome? It doesn't, I mean, that's irrelevant, but the moon definitely seems to be something different. And could it be just literally that we've all put so much heavy metal into our bodies that now our reflective surface, which is supposed to be a clean blood system, and this is why we get the royal bloods, which are the blue bloods, and that's the clean blood, versus the red bloods, and the red blood is literally the heavy metallic blood that we've ingested, all of the heavy metals. And this is why if you look at noble metals, they don't rust. If you look at gold, silver, platinum, I mean, but look at the normal three: gold, silver, and copper. If you put most materials in copper, it turns blue. It'll turn food blue. It will turn your beverage blue. What is that? What can we notice about that? Has anybody ever looked into, if you drop a magnet through a copper tube, what happens? It's called the lens experiment, because there's some sort of gravitational field, a magnetic gravitational field that's occurring. And now and you can't do that with heavy metals. You can't do that with other substances. And what those substances, once again, those other substances, the heavier metals, they rust. They turn into what's waste. If you have ball bearings and they start to rust, the machine won't work. But if you use things that don't rust, well, that's completely different now, isn't it? So when I get into all of these things here, as I jump through speaking to people about blood plasma and televisions and plasma and televisions, and how the crystalline nature of our skeletal system and the crystalline nature of televisions work, and the crystals outside, and your watch is made. A lot of watches are made with crystals in it. Your computers are made that way. And then we start to get into cleansing the body and what your blood might be, and then the color of the blood. And man, I mean, the moon and the iron thing is something pretty interesting, because some people say, like, some people see different things. This is what I'm trying to get at. Like, children see something different than you do, maybe because they don't have so many heavy metals in them. Maybe they're seeing different frequencies and different energies and entities, and maybe they're not seeing the moon the same way you are. Maybe there are people that literally don't and cannot and won't see the moon because it's not in their visual field, because their body and their blood doesn't project that they're just like living as a sun all the time, because they just beam out brightness, because they've collected sun energy, and there's no moon in their being. There's no moon in their reality. So this moon construct is really connected to salts and heavy metals, and this is not blaming anyone. This is not saying there's some evil agenda. Maybe it's just people don't know. Maybe even the highest level of people on this planet, maybe these people in NASA, maybe these people in government agencies, maybe they just don't even understand. Maybe they don't even know that really the problem is, hey, it's the heavy metals, and that's why the moon there is causing decay. And it's not that anybody wants decay on this planet. It's not that anybody wants to see things fall apart. Maybe they just don't know what's happening with the blood system and with what's going on outside with the moon. So, just the rantings of some sun child, or a raving lunatic, whatever you like, or just Zen. So as always, stay cool, do cool things, have fun, enjoy your neighbors, inspire the world, and if you can't do that, at least inspire yourself. And we'll talk soon.